I bet you thought it was going to be another countdown there. How are y'all doing today? I'm Willie Bragg. Welcome to the Willie Bragg Show. I'm going to make this pretty damn brief because, I got shit I got to do. I know there's a Republican convention tonight. I'll be probably talking about it either in the next tomorrow or in the next couple of days. I have a video that I have planned tomorrow night that I think I'm going to put it on delay. So there is that. So anyway, so I guess I'll get started real quick and we'll begin at the beginning. So as you already know, there was an assassination attempt against Donald Trump on Saturday. As y'all can see right here, Donald Trump, who was at a rally in, I believe it was Butler, Pennsylvania, and it was a grazing of the ear. We all know that by now. He's well, and we know that the conspiracy theories are all over the place, and people have all kinds of things to say about what happened on Saturday, how it could have been prevented, and people getting partisan all over the place, every which way till Sunday about it. So it is what you would expect out of a tragedy, people being cynical. So you take it take that with all the grains of salt you can. So basically, another thing about it is the person that was apprehended. There was all kinds of speculation of who this person, Thomas Matthew Crooks, who he is. So I chose a picture of a younger Thomas Matthew Crooks because apparently this is kind of agreed upon on who he is, or who he was rather, and there's other photos that may or may not be him. And I made a little bit of a gaffe this morning on Twitter myself, and I do stand corrected on that too, and I will explain that as well. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, so this kid, and he was, I believe he was 20 years old. I think that's how old he was when he's when he met his maker, pushed the daisies, kicked the bucket, what have you, Saturday when the shooting took place. I'm not going to go into details about the gentleman seeing the guy on top of the roof and all of that. I mean, there is things to be said about that. As I said, the conspiracy theories are out there. I may touch on these a greater length on conspiracy theories later on at a later date. But as far as the conspiracy theories on the political motivation, of course, that the right wing would say that the kid was Antifa, or he was a partisan Democrat, or what have you. And honestly, it wasn't a conspiracy theory. My speculation was he was initially not a leftist, but I thought he was basically maybe just a generic lone wolf Democrat who can't see beyond blue MAGA, red MAGA, who probably thought that Donald Trump was the second reincarnation of Hitler, and that was why he did what he did. That was my speculation initially, and apparently I turned out to be wrong on that one too. So, I take my version of the L on that one. So, apparently he was a Republican. Some people say that there are people out there saying that he was a far right Republican that thought that Trump was too moderate. Some people said he was a gun nut. He did have a gun tube channel shirt, but the gun tube channel, as far as people being into their guns and all of that, it's one of the more benign channels there is. I mean, the guy that runs the channel apparently is conservative leaning, as probably most gun enthusiasts are. They're not all conservative, but most of them are going to be right leaning. And that's not a criticism. It's just part of the culture that comes with most gun enthusiasts. This doesn't apply to every gun enthusiast out there. But the point I'm trying to make is that the channel GunTube, you can't really say it was rhetoric coming from the channel, because there's never been really any strong evidence of like anti-government militia, Timothy McVeigh, Turner Diary style rhetoric coming out of this channel. It wasn't like the guy was espousing rhetoric from the chapter called The Day of the Rope. And if you ever know what the Day of the Rope was, it'll give you nightmares from the Turner Diaries. But it suffice to say, the kid, we just don't know what the motivation could be. So I'm going to go ahead and share two commentaries from two commentators that they have their particular say about it, and then I'm going to give you my take on it too. But first, let me also say that let me go ahead and do this here. There is kind of I had to go make a correction. I posted a tweet this morning, and the photo that I use is questionable, meaning that the let's see, it's not that one, it's this one. The tweet I used this morning using the photo turned out to be questionable, and Conrad Misty Winters, she was kind enough to correct me on this, so I stand corrected, and thank you, Conrad Misty Winston, for telling me about this. Because as you can see on the right, I posted this. It says, so Thomas, well, actually, probably what I should do is show you the original tweet. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. So this was my original tweet, and let me go and do this here, because okay, let me go ahead and do this real fast. All right, I have all kinds of reasons for making the screen larger. So okay, let me see if that's sufficient. Okay, that'll work. That'll work very well. Okay. All right. It says, I said this morning, so Thomas Matthew Crooks turned out to be a Republican. And why would he attempt to do what he did to former President on Saturday? Some claim that he was an unhinged right-wing extremist who thought Trump was too moderate. Yet that does not fit into the puzzle either. And as you can see right here, as you can see, this is the photo that I found online. It was just a random photo that I put up there online, just to illustrate who this guy was. And I thought that's who he was. So, so Comrade Misty said, that's it's not the shooter though, right? And I was like, and I found out later it wasn't. So I replied shortly. I said, "My bad. He looks like him." And so here's where I have to stand corrected. The troll is named Jew-gazing, whoever this person is. The media, both social and mainstream, who posted this are displaying why people are so gullible and naive, which is a dangerous combination which affects us all. So this is the original painting and photo, and apparently this is not the guy. So, and of course, I let her know that I appreciated her letting me know about this, because I don't want to put out deliberate misinformation. If it's misinformation that I put out, it's unintentional. I try to be as honest as I can. And if there's any wrongful information that I put out, I want to retract it and make sure that I give you the correct information. I don't want to spread wrongful information. So there you have it. So everything taken care of. I'm going to go ahead and play this video here. Let me go ahead and get it ready here. by the Amazing Atheist. He talked about this, and it was interesting what he had to say. So let me go ahead and get it set up in a second. My computer's playing games. Sorry for the delay. I am going to put on high speed, 1.25.
I love when major historical events happen, don't you? Right? Such a rush. Yeah. 20-year-old dirty kid named Thomas Crooks gets on top of a roof 150 yards away from former President Trump with an AR-style 5.56 rifle, takes, I think, 4 shots. Reporting's a little sketchy on that. Puts a bullet through Trump's right ear. Killed a Trump supporter named Corey Comparatori, a 50-year-old volunteer fire chief. He also injured 2 other rally attendees who are currently in stable condition. Let's watch the raw footage of this chaotic moment.
And, you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Hold. Are you ready? On you. Ready? Move. Move. Go.
I'm sorry for the choppiness of the video. It must be the internet or something.
You ready?
Cable, I'm trying to say. It must be the cable company. My cable is a little unpredictable at times.
We're good. Shooters down. We're good to move. Let's go. Let's move. Come on.
Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes.
Hold on your head.
You? So we got to move to class. What's out? Wait.
Ooh. That's exciting. I love that Trump's first concern when he's given the all clear to rise is his shoes. Where are my shoes? Damn it, my shoes. And anyone who's ever told me that Trump is not a politician, bullshit. His first instinct after being shot at was, what a great chance for a photo op. Fight. And he was right. Look at this photo. Donald Trump, bloodied but unbowed, raising a fist in defiance as the American flag streams majestically above his head across a clear blue sky. It's like something out of a Michael Bay movie. You want to tell me this guy ain't a politician? Nonsense. He's the greatest political genius of our lifetime, at least when it comes to campaigning and crowd work. Wow. Everything he was trying to do with that cringe-ass, mean-mugging mugshot, he actually accomplished here. This is easily a Pulitzer Prize-winning photograph. And it's not the only great photo to come out of this incident. What about this one, where you can literally see the bullet streaking by Trump's head? Now that is absolutely bonkers. What do we know about this would-be assassin at this point? Thomas Crooks was just 20 years old. Just a kid, really. We know that, according to a former classmate, he was the victim of relentless bullying.
He was bullied almost every day.
In what way? Can you explain?
I mean, he would sit alone at lunch. I mean, he was just an outcast, and you know how kids are nowadays. So they're going to see someone like that, and they're going to target him because they think it's funny or whatever. So it's the best way I can describe it.
We know that he gave $15 to the Progressive Turnout Project in 2021. Rumors have spread that he also gave money to Act Blue, but those turned out to be nonsense.
Now, I'm trying to figure this out. He's a Republican. who was a gun enthusiast, but gave to a progressive PAC in early 2021. And I'm trying to figure that out, trying to connect the dots to see how this makes sense. And I just don't quite understand that myself. But getting back to Trump, he certainly knows how to not waste a moment when the cameras are on him. I will give him that. Wow. Anyway.
In November of 2022, he registered to vote as a Republican. We all know that he was wearing a t-shirt for the YouTube gun channel Demolition Ranch. Now, some have claimed that this is a right-wing gun channel, but from what I can tell, the content of the channel is mostly apolitical, although the channel's creator is definitely right-wing. But why would a gun-loving, right-wing Republican want to kill Trump? He's like the favorite guy among right-wing, gun-loving Republicans, huh? Now, if you ask lefties, they'll tell you the kid was probably so far right that he viewed Trump as like too moderate. And if you ask the
that is actually a speculation by some, and some people think that even though that Nick Fuentes is pro-Trump, some people think that he might be an unhinged groiper. And if you know what a groiper is, it's a follower of Nick Fuentes, who's a white nationalist, one of the young pups. He's basically the Ben Shapiro of the alt-right. Ben Shapiro is not alt-right. He's just a standard neocon shithead, whereas Nick Fuentes is a standard alt-right racist shithead. That's the difference. But they're both immature little fucks. But anyway.
Favorite guy among right-wing, gun-loving Republicans, huh? Now, if you ask lefties, they'll tell you the kid was probably so far right that he viewed Trump as like too moderate. And if you ask the right, he was just a secret left-wing infiltrator who pretended to be right-wing. Now, if you ask me, who knows, right? I mean, who fucking really knows? Maybe he just wanted to impress Jodie Foster. A lot of conservatives are pissed at the Secret Service right now. Like Matt Walsh took this opportunity to be sexist against the female Secret Service agents. A lot of people are upset about this lady who had momentary trouble reholstering her weapon. Seems kind of silly to me, especially since the main criticism of the Secret Service is that the male counter sniper was apparently aware of the presence of Thomas Crooks on the rooftop nearby and didn't open fire until after Crooks started shooting. I even saw one commentator urging people to compare these women to the men who were protecting Reagan back in the day. And that seems like a pretty idiotic comparison. I mean, Reagan's Secret Service clearly failed far worse than Trump's did. Reagan was shot in the chest with a bullet narrowly missing his heart at a range of 15 feet. And they didn't even kill John Hinckley Jr. He's alive and well, recording bad folk songs on YouTube.
Hello, everybody. This is another one of my original songs. You only know what used to be. You don't know a different side of me.
The fact that the counter snipers didn't act more quickly after identifying.
Yeah, the thing about John Hinckley is this. There is a parallel between John Hinckley and Thomas Matthew Crooks. Not exactly, but an analogy to be made. And I'm not trying to say that if you're a standard right-wing Republican, makes you the same as a neo-Nazi. But John Hinckley was a neo-Nazi. He belonged to a group called the National Socialist White People's Party. Around the same time he shot at Reagan. But here's the thing about John Hinckley. That was not his motivation for trying to kill Ronald Reagan. His motivation was apolitical. He was trying to get the attention of Jodie Foster, who he had an obsession with. So it was kind of apolitical, his reasoning. He was a neo-Nazi who was head over heels in love with Jodie Foster, the actress. And and apparently he's harmless enough that he could be set out loose again, making sucky folk music, as you can see right there. So anyway, I'm with TJ at this point as far as who knows. As far as to why, what was the primary motivation? Okay, he was bullied. He was bullied in school, and when kids get bullied in school, they do really fucked up things to try to get back in society. And it could be that it might not have been political, but he saw Donald Trump as a powerful person to make a statement with. So it could be just a non-political reasoning. But I know that there are right-wing people out there claiming that Joe Biden basically ordered this to happen. They're claiming that the rhetoric by Democrats, and Democrats are full of hate, and and there's truth to be said about that, but it's not like the Republicans are full of love and charity and just bursting with good virtue. I mean, some of the rhetoric that they have used against anybody that's even left of center in any way, shape, or form, that anything that's a Democrat that's maybe to the left of Mitt Romney, but as a Democrat, I mean, they'll sit there and call, Jeb Bush, for example. They'll sit there and call them a pedophile, call them a terrorist lover, call them, baby killer. I mean, the last time you checked, that's not exactly a loving thing to say about your political opponents. So, to the right wing that claim that Democrats, and sometimes when they use the term Democrats, they mean they use that as a pejorative, and they even throw it at people who are not even Democrats, who are independents. So and I'll tell those people on the right to fuck off every time, because as soon as they start throwing Democrats, I mean, they lost the argument with me, because there's plenty to open your ass cheeks on over and shit on the Democrats over, but certainly not what the Republicans will do that over, and certainly not false allegations like what Marjorie Taylor Greene says about them. I know that's low-hanging fruit to sit there and talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, I think everybody knows that she's a fucking retard and all of that, but still, she's got a degree of influence, and all of us who are critical of the Democratic Party here in this audience, I mean, it's really the people like us that she hates, and they're nowhere to be found anywhere near Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi or Barack Obama. So I feel it's okay to go open season on her and tell her what an asshole she is too. So as shit libby as it sounds sometimes, but suffice to say that I think it's basically sometimes people do things for non-political reasons, and this could be very much the case with Thomas Matthew Crooks. Let me add here this video. I heard it earlier today. Let me get it over here. This is from Nico House. Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds here, and I'll go ahead and get it ready for y'all. And let's see, is it ready? Okay. Let me make sure. Let me do this. All right. Give me a couple seconds here. We'll get this. We'll make sure. I think that should do the trick. Let's see. Let me check over here on this window. That should do the trick. Okay. This is Nico House explaining. He's giving his explanation about Thomas Matthew Crooks and the assassination. And some people will call it a conspiracy theory, but even if it's considered conspiracy theory, I think that he might be onto something. So let's go ahead and play it.
It's time to stop pretending that the conspiracy theories surrounding the attempt on Trump's life are totally invalid or totally illegitimate. Because when there's an attempt on a man's life that is trying to run the same government that assassinated Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, RFK, JFK, I mean, the list goes on. I think that it's okay to ask questions, right? So for 1 second, just abandon the binary mindset of Trump versus Biden, or Republican versus Democrat, and let's look who stands to benefit in the facts surrounding the issue. Trump did not, nor has he ever supported a war between Russia and Ukraine, and has reiterated this over and over again. On July 12th, Orban, the president of EU and the prime minister of Hungary, who is also against the war in Ukraine, met with Trump on a peace mission. On July 13th, there was an attempt made on Donald Trump's life. Now, why do I bring this up? Because it wasn't too long ago that now EU President Orban met with Prime Minister Fico. And Fico also wants peace between Russia and Ukraine. Shortly after that meeting, Fico had an attempt on his life once he became prime minister. Now, some of you all might not remember, but it wasn't that long ago that Project Veritas exposed a BlackRock recruiter who said that BlackRock is making tons of money off of the war in Ukraine due to the instability and the investments they have there. But maybe you didn't know, around that same time, it was announced that JP Morgan and BlackRock have almost $1 billion in capital invested in the reconstruction of Ukraine. It was reported that a Ukraine reconstruction bank is being set up in Kiev with the help of BlackRock and JP Morgan that has at least $500 million in committed capital and could be ready to launch in 5 or 6 months with close to $1 billion. Enter the shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks, the 20-year-old who tried to take out Trump. Despite the fact that Thomas is from one of the smallest towns in Pennsylvania, he just so happens to coincidentally be in a BlackRock commercial from 2022. Yep, that's the same year and time frame that the war with Russia and Ukraine started. And maybe you're like me, where you thought there's no way, that just is too much of a coincidence, except for BlackRock comes out today and admits it's him and pulls their ad off of all their sites. So if you couple everything we know about BlackRock plus the fact that we know Trump wants nothing to do with helping Ukraine more than we already have, plus the fact that this guy and others warned about the shooter and the police and the Secret Service and their snipers did nothing, this breaking news from NBC that spot on the roof was a known vulnerability and had been accounted for the day before the rally, and the snipers actually had the green light to take out the shooter without any permission, or the fact that taking out Trump on Saturday, right before the Republican convention on Monday, would mean Nikki Haley, probably the most pro-war hawk when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, would end up being the nominee versus Joe Biden. Or the simple fact that the U.S. government is known to take out anybody or anyone who stands in between them, their wars, and the money for the corporations they work for. We cannot just dismiss these theories out of hand because they make us uncomfortable. We have to investigate them, because conspiracy theory lately has turned into conspiracy fact more quickly than ever before.
Now, with the conspiracy theories of BlackRock in relation, that's feasible. And I'm not saying that there is a connection, but that's probably the conspiracy theory that I've heard that has some that has some glue to it, where everything sticks together, basically. And so, all the conspiracy theories I've heard from normie Democrats and shit libs and the far right and everything, and my little silly notion that it was an apolitical Democrat leaning voter that was pissed off because Orange Man bad attitude. And then I went with, who knows why. That probably is likely to be the reason. Military-industrial complex maybe see Trump as a threat. However, Trump is not perfect on the foreign policy thing either, because he was heterodox compared to, let's say, Bush Cheney and your standard Republican. But was he really as heterodox as a lot of people make him out to be? I mean, he did things like move the damn embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Dumb idea. It helped cause October 7th to happen, along with the Abraham Accords. And that's certainly not being, that's certainly, an establishment neocon / religious right thing to do. And that's one faction, where even some people in the deep state are kind of okay with. And this notion of the deep state's divided too. They got a liberal and a conservative wing. So, some people's like, oh, the deep state. Well, the deep state, they have those squabbles among themselves. I mean, they agree with a lot of the big details, but there are some minute differences that they may have with each other. Moving out of the peace treaty with Iran, things like drone strike, doing the drone strikes, increasing it about 400%. And it was done to avoid having U.S. troops. I guess that was the rationale. But it is still wrong what he did. He still did a lot of neocon shit. He did. I mean, there was some rhetoric that the neocons hated. They really hated his rhetoric about being anti-war. And again, there was less aggression, and I would argue it was by accident. COVID and being an anomaly that he was, that never Trumpers and Trumpers were fighting, and the pink pussy hat wearing shit lib morons, resistant types were also fighting Trump. I have said this, and all these things, there was a lot of factors that kind of created a slightly less aggressive, accidentally less aggressive policy on behalf of the U.S. during the Trump years. It was more or less by accident. So there is that. Let's see what we have here. So with regard to Viktor Orban and Robert Fico, and Trump with regard to Ukraine, Russia, I would say that maybe the one thing, if Trump would have been reelected in 2020, that would have probably been the one positive thing about Trump's second term, would have been we probably would not be in war with Russia at this point. And no, it's not because I think that he was a Russian asset or anything like that. I never believed that. I always rejected Russiagate. And Viktor Orban is an asshole, a right-wing asshole. But Robert Fico, Slovak Republic, I believe it's called, is of the center left. He's a social democrat, but they have this in common. They think it's ridiculous to get ourselves in harm's way and risk World War III over the Ukraine-Russian conflict. And so I passionately dislike Viktor Orban, but he's a stop clock given the right time twice a day when it comes to Ukraine, Russia. But I hate him domestically. I mean, he's terrible for the people of Hungary. Let's see what we got here. But, it was interesting what he said about Thomas Matthew Crooks being connected to a BlackRock ad from a few years ago. And then that ad was taken down. And, if Trump would be basically, shall we say, non-existent as a result of Saturday. And what happens with the GOP convention? Because it would be another candidate. Probably Nikki Haley would be the nominee. And she would probably fucking win the election. And I have said that, there are candidates, there's a lot of people worse than Trump. Ron DeSantis was worse than Trump. Nikki Haley is worse than Trump. They both were worse than Trump. The guy that Trump picked today, J.D. Vance, is worse than Trump. J.D. Vance is basically a fat, chubby Ben Shapiro with a slightly better-looking beard meets Dan Crenshaw without the eye patch. In other words, J.D. Vance is a piece of shit. And I'm probably going to do a video on JD Vance because I got some shit I got to say about JD Vance. So, and probably in about a day or 2 or 3, sometime this week, I'm going to do a video on what my take on JD Vance and all of that. So, anyway, that's pretty much my take on this with regard to Thomas Matthew Crooks, and we'll see what happens as details unfold more on who this kid was and what his motivation very well might be. And it's probably going to be like the Kennedy assassination with regard to Lee Harvey Oswald, where it's going to be debated for decades what motivated this guy. And, was it a deep state plot? Was it left-wing activists? Was it right-wing people? Was it, what was the motivating factor? Or was it just a kid trying to prove something? So, and I think that maybe of everything I've heard conspiracy-wise, I'm going to go with the Nico House conspiracy theory. And I don't mean conspiracy theory in a disparaging way, but I mean his take had the dots that he's connects better than all the other dots I've heard from other folks. So there is that. I have an announcement to make. I feel like I can make this announcement now. Do y'all remember the show Braglands? The show that was co-hosted by Jimi Sunderland and myself. Now all of a sudden, it was stopped doing the show. Stuff that's happening, but nothing negative. It just things that just needed to be sorted out. We're going to be back fairly soon. Probably in the next couple of weeks. I just want to let y'all know Braglands will be coming back probably in its usual time, Tuesday afternoon at 2:00 Pacific Standard Time, 5:00 Eastern Standard Time. So there will be a Braglands. Jimmy and I talked, and she's got things that she's got to sort out and everything. So we're going to be touching base and trying to get everything set up back. So there is that. So I am looking forward to Braglands. I miss doing it. So we're going to be doing Braglands again. I'm guessing it'll be late July, early August, but the next couple of weeks. So just be on the lookout, and I will let you know as the details unfold. So there's that. And what else do I have to say right now? I guess that's it for the most part. If you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment any way you disagree with what I have to say. We'll have a conversation. And let me apologize for not talking to y'all on the chat line today. I have to go to work in a little bit, but I had to go and do this video because it was urgent while there was a need to make this video. So I am not ignoring y'all. I just have to go to work tonight. And I do love to talk to y'all online on the chat line. So my apologies. So anyway, let me get back to what I was trying to say here. If you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment any way you disagree with what I have to say. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Reject corporate media, please do, because you can see what it's like with the events happening. So there is that. And subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show on all my platforms, please, and support all our friends in independent media because again, they and I have my links listed down on the Willie Bragg Show. So anyway, remember this: Julian Assange may be freed, but he's not pardoned yet. So pardon Julian Assange, free Palestine, free healthcare for all, free speech, absolutism, and I will see y'all later. Take care. Bye-bye.